I'm thinking at some point they're gonna stop letting me get away with the current thumbnail layout, but that day isn't today, and I'm pretty happy with that. Anyhow, today we're talking about Sneak Peek. Here's my deck profile for Sneak Peek. I went 10-0 in games, 5-0 basically to get a Starlight Dominus Spark at my Sneak Peek event. The list is pretty self-explanatory. The hand traps we play are Ash Blossom because this deck does kind of have a problem with Charmies. A problem as in, like, unlike Lunalight, I can't just like ignore them, or like Branded where I can just ignore them. I do have to think about Charmies as a concept. And then we play my usual suite of super duper duper high impact hand traps that do everything I want them to do. Charmies also function as a good normal summon in this deck, which is kind of what I'm looking for. So, these are nice. Don't ever want to make a difficult decision, so just smack some Charmies down. Charmy plus Griffoh is basically Holly's plus Griffoh. It's crazy. Here's our last hand trap. It's Griffoh. Oh my gosh, Griffoh is my favorite hand trap. We have to play 3 of this because it's the best card in the game. It beats Droll. It beats everything except Ash. It's also a hand trap, which is really funny. We play 3 Black Chaos because this is a really good breaker, and it's also one of the better starters. It gets us to Mind Shuffle. Mind Shuffle is one of our greatest starters. And then we have 3 Diabellstar, right? You have to play 3 just because Diabellstar is 2 ways to play, basically. It sends to set Deception, and you can banish it for Demon, which is a way to play. Magician Souls for the Demon, not even a brick in this deck. It's crazy how good this card is, just generically. 2 Skull Archfiend and 2 Ritual. This is an interesting consideration. I see a lot of people on 1-1. I just think resource management is so much harder with 1-1. Your lines are so much more awkward. You have so much less freedom in what you're able to do. And additionally, Diabellstar plus Skull Archfiend or Diabellstar plus Ritual of Light and Darkness is a really, really solid 2-card combo, which means you kind of don't hate seeing these at all. You play 1 of each Ritual because you have to. 1 of each so they can tag out into each other. You don't really need more than 1 of each because you're just going to search them anyways, right? 1 Called By, 1 Talents because you need to beat hand traps really effectively, and these are really good cards into next format. Into decks like Branded, even decks like Pool Tomb, these are really, really good cards. You can Call By remakes, you can Call By hand traps, and Talents in general just tends to be a really, really fantastic card for these matchups. 2 Corrupted Ritual Records, you don't need to play 3 because it's a really redundant starter. Ultimately, Diabellstar does get you to Black Chaos eventually. So all Corrupted Ritual Records is doing is it's adding redundancy, right? And if you open it with Griffoh or Black Chaos, it doesn't add to your combo at all. It's just redundancy. We play 2 Deception because it is a starter, right? And, it's a pretty good starter too, all things considered. There's a high enough monster count that Deception itself becomes a really good starter. Additionally, if your Diabellstar gets like Veilered or Impermed or Stop or anything, if your opponent doesn't know what they're playing against, that Deception in your hand starts to look a lot better than it did at the start. We play 2 Virtuous, 1 to search, and then the other 1 to search on the follow-up. We play 1 Hollowed because that's the only true brick in the deck. We play 3 Wanted and 2 Trap. It is really, really difficult to play without 2 Trap because if you just draw 1 Trap, neither Griffoh nor Black Chaos can place it from the hand, so you kind of have to have a way to send it, which you sometimes have in Diabellstar, but you don't always have, which makes it really, really, really awkward. At the end of the day, it is a kind of bricky list, right? You are playing Hollow plus a lot of bad cards. That is the nature of RoLaD. I will say I have not had a really bad hand with this deck. I've had a lot of very, very solid hands, and a lot of slightly less solid hands with a bad card. However, they still play, and they still play well. Even if you open a Mind Shuffle, just sending it off of Diabellstar is a completely fine thing to do. For our extra deck, we have the Azamina suite. We have the Fallen package. These are necessary. You don't play a 3rd one. You don't need a 3rd. You don't need a 3rd Albion. You don't need anything like that. We only play 2 Virtuous. You play the Demod, and then you play the Access Code Celine line. This is such a really extraordinary line for being able to kill people really fast. You play the classic nonsense, right, which is Cross Sheep, Firewall, Protect Code, Zena, Quartet. Insane combo enablers, especially post-side. This just gets more and more ridiculous as to the things you can do. You have to play Relinquished Anima for the Protect Code. SP is your generic free agent that you can also bring back using Quartet, and you can use to banish your Quartet to reset it. And then Dark is another free agent so that you can climb up into Celine Access Code really easily. For the side deck, you play Lava Golem just because there's such a quantity of FTK and Spell Cancer decks running around in the format. You can't really get around it. Sloth in this kind of high-impact deck is really, really helpful, especially since there's so many bad draws, especially on second. We're playing evenly just because I wanted another breaker into those semi-FTK decks, right? Especially into the Mirror that did more than, say, like Dark Ruler or Lightning Storm did under Anti-Spell or under what do you call it, spell canceller, and it's like a fine card into branded as well. Pharaonic Advent and 2 targets. This is our going first package, basically, right? Pharaonic Advent, 2 targets. Anti-spell covers every matchup that Discord doesn't. Discord essentially just covers the KT matchup, and sometimes the Elf Note matchup, which is really all you need. Magical Hats for your Fuelos lines like post side. Dominus Spark just for, I think it was a Tellarknight FTK is becoming really common, as well as similar brands of FTK that lose to a Spark off of a Charmy draw, but are relying on you playing full breakers so that they never have to worry about that. I like having 1 Spark. It also helps with the siding patterns. 1 Perulia, just to complete the set, so you can side that in. And, for the siding patterns, 1 Judgment going first, the best card in the game going first. In general, this is a very, very solid list. The only things I would change are probably the non-engine. There's a lot to be experimented with the non-engine both in and out of the side deck. However, I think the engine is almost perfected. I think these ratios are almost perfect, and I have no idea what else I'd do. See ya.